Hello, I'm Creek Wilson, and I am excited to be on the Nola film scene. And yes, I am a somewhat actor, or try to be. I am known for The Haunted Mansion, playing the Mariner Ghost.
Nola film scene.
Hello. Welcome to Nola Film Scene with TJ and Plato.
I'm TJ.
And as always, I'm Plato.
Welcome back to Nola Film Scene. We're here with Creek Wilson today. Creek, thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Those mellow tones of Creek Wilson. We had a conversation about a week or so ago talking about different subjects. And I swear, Creek, I'm going to write a Western just so I can hear that voice in it. I know you've done some and other things, but fabulous, fabulous.
Actually, I have a movie that is in post-production, and the guy, he's a fellow actor, director, writer. If I called his name, y'all would know who it is. And he's actually wrote a Western, and he said, I've got a part in it, and then I'm going to narrate it. So he heard my voice as he was writing it for the narration.
You get into people's heads, I will admit, in the best way, my friend.
I hope so.
That's awesome, man.
I grew up loving the Haunted Mansion. In the nicest way, I'm jealous of that you were in it, but I love that you were in it. Walt Disney World opened in 1971. I went there in 1975. And also they released an album. Kids, that was what vinyl, the big records were. And it was the story and the song of the Haunted Mansion. Ron Howard and this girl kind of walking through it. You had the ghost house, all the good stuff. So by the time I got to the Haunted Mansion, I walk up to those gates and I see it. Every time it hits me, it's like, I'm home. I love the Haunted Mansion.
You're going to make me cry.
And I love the movie. We couldn't talk about it because it came out during the strike, and I really wanted to promote it.
I'm just glad everything settled. The first episodes we did, we had to kind of talk around stuff and be careful not to get anybody jammed up talking about specifics while the strikes were ongoing.
Yeah, it was tough when the Haunted Mansion premiered July the 28th, and I think it was July the 14th. 2 weeks before our premiere, and we did not even get to do the red carpet or talk about it. And it was in my contract that I was going to be a part of all of that.
Yeah, man, I hate to hear that.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Well, you just take it as it is and move on.
Yep. Got to fight the good fight. I'm not friends with Rosario Dawson, but I did get to talk to her through GalaxyCon, and I met her in person at the Clerks 3 premiere. Such a great lady. So cool.
She is very, very nice. In fact, I cannot express how nice the cast, the crew, the director, Justin Seaman, Rosario Dawson, Tiffany Haddish, Danny DeVito, Lakeith Stanfield, they treated me like an equal.
Which you are.
Wow, that's really good to hear. My experience, my limited experience has been pretty positive. People have been very, very welcoming on set.
I have not had one bad experience. Actually, my first big film that I filmed was, maybe 9 years ago. And I've worked with some Oscar winners, and I've worked with some great actors, and everybody has been extremely nice to me.
Yeah.
No divas. Yet.
No divas yet.
You haven't worked with me.
And no, I was not a diva either.
I was going to say, I'll help you. I'll be the first diva if we ever work together. Or let's say when, because it's going to happen, my friend.
It will happen.
Some of your other projects, I was looking over them. We Have a Ghost.
Yes.
I had heard about the production of it. I had stopped working back. I was like, okay. And I flipped on. That was a really good movie.
Well, it was for my 10 seconds of fame. I was on set for 16 hours. But Christopher Landon, the director, one of my coolest moments in this business, I talked to him for a good while about our fathers, and he wanted to know about mine. And as y'all know, his father was Michael Landon. So I heard about Michael Landon as a dad, not a big movie star.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool.
Very cool.
That is cool.
I'm jealous of his hair. But anyway.
Creek, one of the things we ask our guests is what got them inspired to get into the entertainment industry? What led you down this path of being an actor?
Well, it's an interesting story. I started doing theater in college. And then went several years. I was not in theater, didn't do any of it. But when my daughter, who is now 26 years old, her name is Cameron, when she was 15, I decided I would quit work. And I had done 6 or 7 local theater projects, and she had watched me in all of them growing up. So when it was April the 15th, actually 12 years ago, I went in, I've been on my motorcycle debating back and forth what to do, and I've raised my daughter by myself since she was a year old till she went off to college. Me and her mother had gotten divorced, and I got custody of her, which was my greatest accomplishment in anything as being a dad. But we had taken these little short trips and vacations, so I decided we're going to take a summer and travel. So we traveled for a summer and hung out together. School started. She was turning 16 years old. Her birthday's in August. So she looked at me and she goes, "Daddy, I'm tired of you walking around with your nose up my ass. You need to do something, get a job." I said, "Well, who's going to hire a 50-year-old man?" She goes, "Well, why don't you be an actor?" And she gave me the inspiration to be an actor. She goes, "I've seen you do all the theater." She had a chance to do a little series that was in New Orleans, going to be filmed, but she decided to stay in school a couple of years before this because she wanted to be in the medical field. And now she's a nurse. Long story short, she's the one who kind of gave me my inspiration. The guy that helped her get to her spot 2 years before kind of took some headshots, sent them in. I did some background. First background job I ever did was Left Behind in Baton Rouge with Nicolas Cage. And then I did a couple others just to see what it was like on set. But I had a bigger goal. You know, if I'm going to play football, I want to be the best quarterback out there. If I want to be in country music, I want to be Garth Brooks, you know, somebody that's big, you know.
Yeah.
So I had the better expectations, and I said, "Hey, I like this," and started taking lessons from some of the greatest character actors around New Orleans. Jim Gleason. I took from Lance Nichols, Jerry Katz, Jeremy London. There was several that I have taken, and Gary Grubbs, and everybody teaches different things. You just put them in a big old bucket, stir it up, and you've got some jambalaya gumbo, and you pull it out and you put it all on yourself, and you make you who you want to be.
Yeah.
So that's where I came into the acting world, and I haven't looked back yet. I've not regretted it.
Your inspiration was your daughter basically kicking you in the ass into the field.
Yes. And she never lets me forget it.
Oh, did you like that paycheck, Daddy? That hand goes up.
That's it.
That's awesome.
So what else do we want to talk about?
I've got a question. You recently started improv. Yeah.
Yes.
Because we've been talking about that. What was your inspiration to get into improv at this stage of your career?
Well, I'm always liking to get out of my comfort zone. Yeah, improv is getting out of my comfort zone.
Yes, indeed.
And started out in my career while I was living in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and I was traveling to New Orleans. I'm still based out of New Orleans. I wanted to do improv, but I just never had the opportunity to do it. And when I got up here, I've actually, Tim Casper, it's a troupe that they have called Gladys in Birmingham, Alabama. And me and Tim, he's one of the 3, and they're teaching the improv in Birmingham. And me and Tim did a Hooters commercial in North Carolina about 4 or 5 years ago. And that's how we met and just started talking. We actually filmed a movie in Birmingham with Jack Quaid and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And as I was coming on set and he was going off set, first day of filming, run into him and found out he had his classes going on. And I said, well, heck, I'll just jump right on in if you'll let me. And so I'm in 101 improv. I'm not stepped up to 301 like y'all, but tomorrow, today's Monday, Wednesday night, we have our showcase and for the end of class. So February classes start back up, and I'm going to go back through 101 one more time. And then before I step up to 201. So I've got a long way to go.
Nothing wrong with that. I did improv for actors, level 1, 2, and 3, which level 3 had to pause because of the pandemic. And then after we finished that, a year later in 2021, I knew it was improv, David Hamilton organization started offering workshops. So it was still level 1, but it was all day instead of spread out over the month, level 1, level 2. And then he offered the 4-level course of just improv. And I took it all. So I totally understand stepping back and this is where I am. I want to take this again. And there's nothing wrong with taking it over and over because you can always learn something new. It's always a new experience.
Right.
And then I just joined the teaching staff for level 0. I'm the introductory teacher. And, hopefully, one day I'll be like level 1 and start making a little scratch for it too. But mostly it's just having fun. And like you said, stepping out of your comfort zone. And it's great for auditions when they throw a script at you and, I don't know anything about this. Bam, you just go.
That is one of the main reasons I wanted to do improv. Help me think quicker on my feet.
That's right. It definitely helps with that. I looked into it. I've mentioned it before, but I started it to get over inhibitions with showing vulnerability. For the very thing you said at the beginning, stepping outside the comfort zone, and improv definitely was that for me. I didn't do a lot of theater coming up. I did just a little bit, school and church plays. I didn't do any in college. And the first showcase, when we were in the green room, I thought, okay, I'm a little nervous. What if I can't think of something to say? But the minute we lined up to go out on stage, it was over. The nerves were gone, and we just walked out there and played and just had fun. And our set was, I think, about 20 minutes long, and standing off to the side, they turned the lights on and off to let you know that the set is over. And I was ready to go again, and it ended. And I was like, oh, it's over. It was so much fun. I don't know if I'll ever be in a troupe and do improv or not. Maybe. I don't know. But right now, I'm just having fun learning it. I've got one more level to go at Anubis, and it's definitely helped me overcome getting out of that comfort zone for sure.
It does. And each one of them, of the 3, Tim, he was in the groundlings in Los Angeles, and the other 2 learned in Chicago, and the other one learned in New York. And when they get together, it's just like they're 3 people, 1 person, and they put on a great show. Yeah. And I'm hoping to get there one day.
That's awesome. Creek, you and I were in the same show. I had a background role in Twisted Metal.
Which episode?
I was in episode 1.
Okay.
And I was in the scene where he pulls up to the gate at the very beginning.
I remember that.
That show was actually what got me started on the path of doing principal work. I had done a handful of background, and I knew that I wanted to do more. I just didn't know that it was possible. I didn't know how to break into it. One of the actors that day kind of started offering me some encouragement, and I started taking classes and getting into it from there. That was a fun project. It was a small scene. It was a short scene, but it was a lot of fun. I value the time that I spent doing background, even though it wasn't extensive. It was a good opportunity to see how the machine works on set and all the stuff. I'm still fascinated by all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And when I'm not busy, not doing something, I'm watching and looking and just trying to soak it all in.
And I do that every time I'm on set also. I hate being stuck in my trailer or my honey wagon, and I like to be right there. And I ask the director, hey, can I stand behind y'all? I'll sit over here and be quiet. Just let me sit and watch y'all do y'all's thing and make the magic.
Yeah, I think it helps me as an actor to see what they're looking at, see what the director is doing. I think it helps me in other settings to kind of understand their side of things.
Right.
And just understanding how everything works.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah. We all started off as viewers, and I think we've all come into this field later in life. You know what I mean? I started in my late 40s. You started mid 40s. TD is about the same. I, in some ways, hate that I didn't start in my early 20s. But if I wasn't where I am now, emotionally, personally, I'm married now, I'm more settled, I'd be a totally different person. I might have burnt out already, so to speak. So what would you say to either your younger self or even just a young person getting into this about the field, that like a tip or trick that they wouldn't know?
Well, first of all, like I tell a lot of people, younger and older, that you have to take the time, the money, and invest in yourself. And if I could start all over, I would take lessons for 2 years before I ever even thought about auditioning or getting an agent or anything. Because I can look back on my old first auditions. I sucked. it took me like 2 years, and I actually probably auditioned over 400 or 500 auditions, whether it was one word, one line, two lines, whatever.
Yeah.
It took me that long to get an audition, but I should have waited and taken lessons first and really honed my craft or learned what it was like to film in front of a camera. It's different than theater because you're speaking out, you're throwing your hands out, you're reaching to the last section, the last row with everything. You have to tone it in. And Gary Grubbs actually helped me get to that point. But take your time and invest in yourself. Invest in the time to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, but it's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's right.
And if you can't afford to get into lessons, YouTube or find a book.
True.
Every day, find something for your career.
Well, let me go back when you said if you can't afford it. Everybody can afford it if they really want to do it. Hell, at one time, I was going out to the bars on the weekends, if I didn't have my daughter. So, there was $100. I was taking a date out. Right. That was $150. You can cut out what you want to cut out and take that money and invest in yourself. So that's what I ended up having to do, which was hard, but I made my mind up to do it. And that gave me the money because I guarantee you, I started off and I probably spent $15,000. And that was some of my savings. That was including traveling from Hattiesburg, Mississippi to New Orleans 2 to 3 times a week for lessons, plus your lessons, plus your headshots, professional headshots, plus have the work on my car, change the oil. I include all of that into that $15,000. But for about the first 2 years, I spent about $15,000, but I had to cut back on stuff to be able to do all of that. That's so it really all what you want it to be, with your own life and what your goals are.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
But I always say, like right now, if I lost my job, I couldn't afford my classes, but I can keep studying. I can find a way.
Yes.
It's the determination, never stop. There's so many things against us to get a role.
True.
People around us in the friendliest way. Did you make any money yet? No, you're just doing a hobby. Okay, all right. But I'm still going. You know what I mean? Or there's some scams are out there, whether it was an agent or a teacher, and that's a setback. So no matter what happens, you have to decide that's what you want and don't let anyone or anything stop you, including yourself.
True.
You know what I mean? Because there are some days when you go, what am I doing? Oh, man, I got all these bills. Oh, I got this. Oh, it's a pipe dream. And you have to take that negative voice and you just squeeze the hell out of it and say, just shut up. I'm going to do this. Keep on fighting.
Well, my mother is 94 years old right now. So let's go back when she was about 84. I can remember her telling me, you need to get back in the real world, get you a real job, quit following this stupid dream. I mean, she was blunt. But when I showed her my first paycheck, for like 1 day's worth of work, she's going, wow. And then for when I showed her what my paycheck, and I'm not saying this bragging, I'm saying it very humbly because I did sign a contract. It was a low tier, very low tier contract with Disney when I did the Haunted Mansion. But when I told her what I was going to make, for 3 months, but really working maybe 9 or 10 days, she's like, wow, you're an actor.
You're an actor.
And that was the main one besides myself that I had to convince was my mom.
Yeah. There's always going to be naysayers, but you just have to plug on. I see all those expenses that you mentioned, and even working for free in the very beginning, doing short films that friends are making. I see that as an investment. It's a time investment in the career, and it's experience, it's learning, it's improving.
Well, when you say that, if you get with somebody that's good with a camera, has good lighting, good sound, good editing, one thing I will say never do is pay for somebody to write you 3 1-minute scenes for a demo reel and pay them $600 because I did that. And it was a waste of time and a waste of money. And it didn't do me no good. But if you get in with the student films and stuff, and sometimes you can take those clips from the student films and say, hey, I just made $200 because there's a nice little clip for a demo reel.
Yeah.
It's clear. The sound's perfect. It hit right on the nail. So you can actually say you made $200 or $300 right there when you get that clip.
Yeah.
It's just the way you want to look at things.
Totally agree.
Yep.
I have a student film. I have a 48-hour film and a short film. All I did for free. And they're all in my reel. Oh, and
Right.
a longer film. Didn't get paid in it for anything. And I feel very confident in my reel now. And it took me years to get there. Some of them, my acting sucked, not the ones in my reel now. Before that,
Right.
just, could I be stiffer? Could there be nothing going on inside my head even more? No, it was pretty dead inside. And I totally agree with you. For me, it was not paying somebody. It was, let's go do it. And then you don't have to pay me, but if you want to give me lunch, that's fine. But my reel, I need the footage. I don't care if it's IMDb credit. It's resume and reel. That's all I'm shooting for.
Absolutely. And what you sent it to me, and it was excellent, let me say.
Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully that one comes out this year. I got a few that have been on the back burner. And the thing with short films, any film, when it's just us, ain't no big money involved in it. So it takes a long time post-production. Some of it, I'm like, it's out. Yeah, I get to share. And others like, I can't tell you. But anyway, thank you, sir. Thank you. Coming from you, I take that as a big compliment. Since we're coming up on the end of the year, and this one will be released in 2024, and I always try to do two-part questions in a way. I'll give you a choice. So what is your New Year's resolution for yourself, or like a goal? I want to be in this type of film, like a dream role, or what do you see for yourself in the next year?
Oh, that's a good one.
I cannot say what it is, but there is a big movie that I auditioned for with a big time producer. It's going to be out. They're going to film in March, from March to July. And I did get a second, not a callback, but a second redo from the director telling me I needed to do a certain accent. He gave me some tweaks and directions for me to do, and I did it the best I could. And I had to hire a dialect coach because I was serious about it. Now, that is my goal to be in that particular movie. Now, whether it happens, I can already say that I had two very blessed opportunities. First one is the first audition. The second one, the director liked my audition and gave me a redo on it, gave me more time. That is my goal, and is to be in this movie or another big franchise movie such as The Haunted Mansion. And also, they're going to do a second season of Twisted Metal, and I hope they bring Mr. Slam back.
That'd be awesome.
On his way back from Los Angeles, he's got to stop at the Nut House and see Mr. Slam one more time.
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent. And
so I wanted to ask you, since you and I have similar looks, you shortened up your facial hair a little bit. I've gotten mixed feedback early on. A lot of people have said that they like my look and that it would serve me. And I've had some detractors say, well, I'm going to be limited in what I can do. I don't have a shortage of, it's not bragging, but I do get auditions. And early on, I was wondering if it was going to impair that. And I decided that if it did, if I couldn't get auditions at all, then I would start maybe altering my look a little bit. But have you had any detractors?
No, actually, I got the Mariner Ghost on my looks because, my beard was real, was out. Not as big as yours, TJ, but close to it. But mine curls up, and I try to straighten it, and it'll still curl within another hour or two. Justin Seaman, the director, walked over the first day. He goes, "Hey, is that God? It's real." I'm going, "Yeah, I heard too." He yanked on it. Yes, you are limited to do what you're doing. In January of last year, right before my new headshots, my hair was down to about right here, and I did cut it shoulder length. It has grown back in the last year. I'm not going to recut it, but I did want to do something different with my face so they could see more of my face instead of the bushy. Plus, I got tired of the big bushy beard personally. But if somebody pays me $65,000 for a movie, that's my amount. I'll shave my head for $65,000. And that's on top of what I get paid. That is what it's going to cost me to lose everything. Yes, I am limited into what I do. I just wanted to get a different look. I can get it this way, and within a month, I can have a pretty good full beard. If somebody likes me and books me, within 2 weeks, I can have my face covered up. It grows fast.
Yeah, mine too. I've thought about shortening it a little bit because sometimes I get strong reactions like, whoa, that's a big beard. And sometimes people are scared of me to say anything to me, but I don't know. I think for now, I'm going to keep it as is.
Well, keep it as is.
I need to keep it as is for one project until that's over with.
Well, it's easier to cut off than to grow back.
That's right.
Creek, as we talked with our mutual friend, Hick Jeremy,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Our first guest, we were discussing what it would take to shave the beard, and you jumped ahead and got the question before I could say it, which was awesome. So, but I think you even topped his quote. But your beard has already landed you bigger roles.
It has.
You know what I mean? So it's more valuable to you. Hicks is too, I think. And again, I'm tiny bearded guy, so I'll go for SAG. It won't be a one-word thing. If the role is SAG and a decent amount, and it takes me about 3 or 4 months to grow a somewhat good beard back, I'll do it. But other than that, if my wife finally gets fed up with it because she doesn't like the beard, that's kind of the hint behind it. But yeah, I'd go less than 65 to any producers listen out there, but I ain't cheap either.
So less than six. I got you.
Well, and see, I don't have a wife to worry about. It's just me. Thank God.
Nothing wrong with that. Each to their own.
Yeah, that's right. I'm fortunate. My wife does not want me to cut my hair or my beard. At least I've got that support. It might be a different story if she was adamantly against it, but I think she's just gotten used to it because I've had it for so long.
Well, it looks good. Both of y'all's look good.
Thank you.
Thank you, a wise bearded one.
I keep getting asked what my dream role would be, and I kind of struggle with that. I had some ideas earlier on, and one that I've had in the back of my mind is to play a hitman or something, mobster, but mobsters are usually kind of clean cut. So I didn't really know what the opportunities would be, but I had an opportunity last weekend to play a hitman in a multimedia marketing campaign. So that was kind of fun. I'm still trying to explore and see the options that I have.
Well, just so you'll know, you will not get to play a doctor or a lawyer or the leading man.
Right. That's right.
And you just take that from my experience.
I'm okay with that. And I knew coming in that some of those weren't going to be an option. Even if I shaved my face, I wouldn't be a leading man, and I'm okay with that.
Well, I'm 61 years old, so I've got the bags under my eyes. But Danny Trejo told me I did a movie with him down in Baton Rouge, Badasses on the Bayou.
Oh yeah,
and I made the comment about getting my bags out and having plastic surgery, and he goes, "Nope, don't do it." And he was like 69 or 70 at the time. He goes, "I got to retire one day. Somebody's got to take my place." And I've made bukus of money on the bags. That son of a gun's nearly 80 years old now.
Wow.
And he's still going strong.
Yeah. I didn't realize he was that age.
He's probably in his late 70s right now.
Wow.
It still looks good and still healthy.
Yeah, he carries it well.
He does.
He's coming to New Orleans in January of 2024 in the Comic-Con, which leads us into a certain subject. You're entering to where I want to be. You're going on the circuit, man.
I am. I have my first one in Corinth, Mississippi. It's a small one. It's the Corinth Comic-Con, and that's January the 20th. I'm hoping to do this year and then work up to the bigger ones next year.
Yeah.
And my buddy Scott Enos, who has voiced Scooby-Doo for the last 25 years, and he's a DJ down in Baton Rouge, he is going to be at this Comic-Con also. So, there's one big name that I know of. I hope I get a booth beside him, and, people don't spend all the money on Scooby-Doo and spends a little bit of money on me.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it. I have another one booked in Texas in April. In between, I've had a handyman job up here in Alabama where I live, to keep me from being bored and make a little extra money in between acting gigs. And I don't want to sling a hammer no more. So, I'd rather be doing the Comic-Cons a couple of days a week and, and have fun meeting people.
You are preaching to the choir, my friend, because I'm usually on the other side. I'm not big on autographs, getting them. I like photo ops. And so the 4 hobbits from the Lord of the Rings are coming. I always come up with an idea. There are people who dress as perfect stormtroopers, like the 501 troop. Their costumes are picture perfect. I don't ever have the money for that. But I come up with, funny ideas. So picture the 4 hobbits, and I'm getting us all ring pops, the old candy. So everybody's got the ring. Right. I do fun stuff. Sam Raimi came to town last year. Bruce Campbell is coming this year. And I put on a fake script that says Evil Dead goes to Mardi Gras. So Sam Raimi's holding it up. I've got the old director's megaphone. My friend Jim Vest has got a clapboard. You know what I mean? So I put take 48 on it. You know what I mean? So I come up with something fun like that. So one of these days, I'll find out what con you're at, and I'll come up with something for you too.
I appreciate it.
Which project are you going for? Like what character of yours?
Actually, I am really going with the Mariner Ghost from Disney, the Haunted Mansion. But I've got 8x10s, and that's my main thing I'm going with. But then I do have, the Twisted Metal, the We Have a Ghost, and Red Dead Redemption 2. I voiced several characters in it when it came out.
Oh, that is so awesome. Brian and I both want to do voice work.
I've seen your new banner, Creek. It looks awesome.
Well, thank you.
How would you find when you're doing voiceover? Because I have not done much stage, not much theatrical work. Do you find theatrical and voice acting similar? Or what similar traits do you find in those?
I had never really thought about it. I have a booming voice anyways. So I have to really, when I do a film, because you got your lav under your shirt right here, and you have to talk like this, I have to tone it down. And I'm still, really wanting to boom it out. That's just me. When I was doing the Red Dead Redemption 2, we did it in New Orleans in a studio, and I was in a little 3x3 booth with 2 screens, a screen up here with the words, a screen down here with the action going on, but it was more like stick people, not the characters. I had a band around my head and a rod sticking out with a camera coming back at me to get my lips.
Yeah.
So that was the only time I've ever done that. And I stood there and I had just gotten over laryngitis. So I hadn't been able to talk for about 4 days. And I knew this was coming up. So I just, laid in on the Jim Beam, the honey, and peppermint too. And I'm not promoting Jim Beam or drinking or anything like that. It was medicinal purposes. But when I was in there, the director was outside the glass door and I'm in the booth and spent 4 hours. And then by the time I got out of there, I could not talk again. I barely made it through the recording, but I had more of a raspy voice. So, it was like this. And I was, I could do a lot more like that. Felt kind of like Popeye. But anyways, it was fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Doing the video game, did you have to do all the grunts and the groans and the yells?
Yes. Loud, soft, medium.
How long of the session was it? The last hour, the last half hour?
About the last hour.
Oof. Yeah. That's what I hear about the video game recording. Do it on a Friday because it's going to rip your throat out and you can go back to work Monday.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I had heard from different teachers was because it's just your voice, you got to forget your face and, like the theater, almost be bombastic to be loud. Like you said, on camera, because it's right in your face and your mic, it's got to be quiet. It's got to be still to a certain point, depending on the role. But theater and in the comic, stop there, villain. You've got to be loud and bombastic and convey all the emotions with your voice.
That is true.
Where did you have to go for the studio for that session?
I cannot remember it, but it was an old church cathedral where the studio is down in New Orleans.
I gotcha.
Over in the French Quarter.
Sweet.
But I cannot remember the name of it. But it was beautiful. The church on the outside, and then you walk in and you had all the booths, the studios, and everything else where they turned it into a recording studio.
Yeah.
Right. I wonder if they use any part of it, like the echo,
I'm waiting to hear if I booked my first voiceover right now. I just got a message back from the casting director. I'm hoping that I booked it.
Well, I hope you book it also.
Video game is the goal. I want to do a video game really, really bad.
Well, they have not asked me to do another one, so,
They will. They will. Creek, it's been a blast talking to you today. We've kind of known each other on social media and we've liked each other's posts, but to finally get to talk to you and see you in action up on the big screen, it's been thrilling. To talk to you today has been great. And just thank you for coming on, sir.
Well, thank y'all for having me. I've really, really enjoyed it.
Same here.